Hello, what's up? What's good? Welcome in to the Only Bet Sports Podcast, Wednesday edition. Alongside Stern Bets, Drew DeLucchi, I'm the Prince of Picks. We got an action-packed show lined up for you guys today. What a great Wednesday it is for the sports landscape. No World Cup, unfortunately, but we do have WNBA, Major League Baseball, a huge slate in Major League Baseball, of course. We'll be getting into that. We've also got to play for Wimbledon tennis as we're gearing towards the semifinals of the Wimbledon tennis for both the men's and women's sides. We're actually going to have some plays for you guys for that as well. And of course, we've actually got another FIBA international basketball game. It's a rescheduled game that we're going to be attacking tonight as well. So, got a few different sports here that we're going to be getting into here momentarily. Let me go ahead and bring in Stern. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. How you guys doing out there in Philly? It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here in Chicago. Finally, the temperatures have dropped. We're looking at high 70s here. Just a perfect day here in Chicago. How you guys doing out there in Philly?
We're doing well. Temperatures dropped yesterday, which was a little bit nice. We had those huge rainstorms over the last couple of days, which really brought killed the heat dome. So we're dealing with sub-optimal temperature for baseball. But what are you going to do? It's middle of the summer. I think people are going to still hit. I actually like a couple of overs today, but we'll get to that later. Today's Wednesday. Let's bring in Brian Liberati. I'm excited to hear what he has to say for this upcoming golf tournament. We actually have two golf tournaments to talk about technically. Curious to see what his opinion is on either or. But first, before we go do that, let's just recap yesterday real quick. Tigers, -1.5, +120. Cashes, no problem. I think I could have bet on... Well, if you're following my premium channel, you definitely cashed on a few of them. Paul Skeens Day, he finally had his first win in, I think, 7 starts or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, it was a good day for me. I know you were off yesterday. Columbia didn't do it for Drew. I didn't check Andrew Abbott, but we'll get Drew sooner or later. He'll give us a recap of how he did yesterday. But for now, let's get into golf. Brian, welcome in, buddy. How you doing? Oh, and freaking well done from last week.
It could have been even better. It was really close to being a kick butt week. I mean, it was so close, a couple of those parlays.
Yeah, that last day killed us. They were both on track for the entire tournament for what it was, a +330 ticket or something like that. But what are you gonna do? It was Tom Kim, right? He faltered on the last day. That was the problem.
Correct. He just putted horribly. I mean, he was top 25 until then, and even our other top 20 parlay looked good until somebody double bogeyed the 17th hole and missed it by a shot. But like you said, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, looking forward to this weekend. Which tournament are we looking at, by the way? We do have two on the cards.
Okay, I hate to say this, I'm not looking at the ISCO one, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a lower end one. The Scottish Open is what I'm looking at because it's got a great field. Guys from all over the world and top players.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is Scotty Scheffler, right? Coming back, facing Rory McIlroy.
Yes, Scheffler's back, but Chris Goddard is the defending champion. He beat Rory McIlroy on the Sunday last year.
Is this the tournament that Rory was up for like 3 rounds in a row and then just had a horrible Sunday and just let it go in the last minute? Like he was like a shoo-in basically to win on the odd standpoint and then just completely faltered in the end. Was this the one where he like double bogeyed 17 or 18 to lose it?
Yeah, right at the end. And Goddard played well. I mean, because they were paired in the last group that day.
Oh, that's so brutal. All right, what do we got for this week? And what tournament is it? What kind of golfers are we looking at? Is this a long course, an accurate course? Is tee to green or putting really important? What are we looking at?
All right, so this is a Scottish Open. It's at the Renaissance Club. They don't call it Renaissance Club like we would. It's spelled the same way. But it's the 9th year at this course. I would call it a modified links course. So if some of you do not know what links is, links usually mean it's open. There's no trees. There's a lot of that long fescue and long rough. Pot bunkers, which this course has. So, but like I said, it's kind of a modified. It was built in 2008. Sorry. So it's only been around 17 years compared to like the St. Andrews, which has been around since the 1500s. It's a par 70, 7,248 yards, or for our listeners over the pond, it's 6,627 meters. Okay. I feel like long hitters definitely have an advantage here because this course, surprisingly for links course, it's not going to penalize you much if you miss the fairway. I'm not saying you're not going to get into trouble, but overall, it's not brutal off the fairway. So that's why players like Rory, guys that can bomb the ball, I think have a slight advantage this week. Also, two things to look at: around the green or our short game, and scrambling, getting up and down. Those are probably, they might be the two key elements because you're going to have to hit low shots, high shots. You're hitting out of these pop bunkers, out of this long fescue grass. So you have to be very, I think, imaginative to do well around the green. And then one other metric, which I found very important, is putting from 6 feet and under. For some reason, I think because these greens, I can't remember the grass, it's different than most greens. Guys struggle. So you want to check out putting from 6 feet and in. It is an important metric. All right. Now, what I'm looking at, again, as I always do, I try to put out a couple winners. I got to go with Rory McIlroy at plus 960. The last 3 years here, he won in 2023, T4th 24, T2nd last year. He loves the course. He plays it so well. Plus, who drives the ball better than Rory? He might be the best driver we've ever seen. And then the other winner I'm looking at is Matt Fitzpatrick. He's at plus 2,100. Matt can really maneuver the ball up and down in the air, depending on wind. Now, there's not showing a lot of wind right now for the week out there, but he can really change his trajectory as good as anybody on tour. And his last 3 weeks on tour, he finished 2nd, 22nd, and 4th. And last year, he was tied 4th here. So I think he's good, and he's a great player on links style courses. Now, I only have a top 20 and ties. Like I've been telling you, look at top 20 and ties, not just top 20. It gives you a lot of leeway that way. A lot of you are not going to know this guy's name. You're probably going to go, who? It's Eugenio, Eugenio Chacarra, Chacaar. Oh, I'm sorry, Carra. I apologize. He's from Spain. He's 26 years old. He plays on the DP tour. This guy's a stud, though. 2 and 3 weeks ago, he won back-to-back tournaments on the DP tour. I think it was in Italy and Netherlands, I believe. This kid's got game. Drives the ball well, good approach, good around the green, and good putter. In fact, all 4 of those metrics, he's gaining strokes for the year. You don't see that many people. So he's kind of my hidden gem this week. And then I do have a top 30 in ties parlay. I have Wyndham Clark and Tyrrell Hatton. Now, Clark, how can I go against? He's just on fire. I ride a guy until he falls off. And then also, too, the last 5 years at the Scottish Open, he's been top 25 or better. Hatton always plays better in bigger events, just like in the Open this year, the U.S. Open, the Masters. He does better when it means more. And the last 5 years here, he's finished tied 24th or better. So I like a little parlay, and I forgot to mention it. It's at plus 224. Now, I do have a couple plays for the first round for Thursday. Now, of course, understand it's weird times. Don't forget, Scotland's 5 hours ahead of us. So these times I will give you, and I did post them on our get together on the phone. These are Eastern Standard Time. But I have a round matchup again, not 3-ball matchup. It's Chris Gotterup, who won last week, over Min Woo Lee at minus 130. Minwoo tees off at 2:44 a.m. Goddard tees off at 3:38 a.m. Again, standard time. Now, this round matchup, I think I said this before, it means they're not playing in the same group. That's why I gave you 2 different times for them. Then also, too, I've got a couple underscore plays. I've got that Eugenio Chikara I talked about under 69.5 at minus 134. And then I have Corey Connors under 65.5 minus 128. Now, that means they both have to shoot 1 under or better because, again, it's a par 70 course. Now, Chichara tees off at 3:39 a.m. Oh, I mentioned that earlier. Sorry. And Connors tees off at 8:10 a.m. And that's what I'm looking at for this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Connors has been sneaky. He's been real sneaky. Now I think he had a down week. Maybe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but generally he's been hovering around the top 30 market, or better, honestly, right? I've been very impressed with him. And to your point, I have Wyndham Clark right after Scotty Scheffler as the most likely winner, and then Matt Fitzpatrick right under him. To my knowledge, which is not an incredible amount, but this is the course for Wyndham Clark. He is in the groove. He is a long hitter. He doesn't have to be super accurate. He can just bomb it. I really like that look for this weekend coming up.
Yeah, you were spot on most with what you said. I couldn't have said it better. It is a perfect fit for him. Could not agree more.
Yeah, I am excited. This is going to be good. I do have a question for you here. Why is everyone so high on Rory? Now, I'm not saying that he's not one of the best golfers in the world. He 100% is, but he hasn't played a lot lately. How important is that to a golfer coming out of the cold, so to speak? Or when they're not playing in tournaments, are they just like practicing every weekend diligently, trying to ensure that they keep their skills up?
Great question. Now, the reason I took him because if you look at the history of this course, I know it's only been 8 years, 9th year this year, but this is one of the courses where course history is very important for the player. And like I said, Rory, the last 3 years, he's been first, fourth, second. Also, too, just so you know, he bought a house just outside of London, I think back in the winter or spring. He spends a lot of time there when he's off, and he's been practicing at Royal Birkdale, which is where the Open is next week. So he's been prepping or priming for that course, which again is a similar course to this week. And again, he's the best driver out there. And this is a course for good drivers.
I've never seen anyone hit the ball as far as him. It's really insane. All right, cool. I have a question now. All right, fine. What do you think about a top 20 market, including ties, minus 110 for Rory and Scotty? I think it's around minus 110. I think I got this last night. I didn't make it official because I don't really like making parlays official if I can help it, especially if it's not necessarily my sport like MLB or NFL. But what do you think of that? I mean, I feel like Scotty is a shoo-in, and then you're basically just betting on Rory, a top 20 market.
Truthfully, I like it. That's why I just put out parlays too. I'm not saying they're official, unofficial, but I just like to put them out there in case somebody wants to check it over. But I like that. The price is great. I think better than I would have thought of.
Yeah, that's kind of why I pulled the trigger. I was just kind of poking around last night, looking around, trying to prep for our show today, and I was like, "Oh, you're going to give me the top 2 people, including ties at top 20?" That's just I put a half a unit on that. You know what? Maybe I'll make that official. If you really like it, I'll put it on my recap screen. I think that's a fun one.
No, I do like it. And like I said, when you first said there were 2 names, I figured it ought to be minus 135 or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay much more than minus 110, maybe minus 120 at the most. But I mean, you're going to give me that's fair. The other person that I would consider is Matt Fitzpatrick. I really like him, and I like the fact that you're pointing him out this week. He is in such a groove. It's hard to see that he's going to be able to fall off here.
I agree, Moshe. In fact, I was shocked on Tuesday or last night when I was looking at the odds on DraftKings and stuff. that Xander Schauffele, who I love, is like, he's at plus like 1,800 or something, and Fitzpatrick's at plus 2,100. I'm thinking Xander hasn't shown me he can win this year.
Yeah, he tends to, how many actual tournaments has he won? Because I feel like 2 years ago, I think it was, he was like constantly getting in the top 5, top 10 pretty much every week, but never seemed to be able to actually get the tournament. Maybe he won one, but it doesn't feel like he's like a great finisher on Sunday.
I believe, I don't have it in front of me, Moshe, but I believe in his history, he's won 9 times. And that what you were talking about 2 years ago, that's when he won 2 majors in the same year.
Okay. So he did do a lot better. I just not necessarily one of the people that I follow, not religiously, but I have some other golfers that I really like and I'm a personal fan of. Xander Schauffele isn't someone that I've really gotten on the boat for. Not saying that I couldn't. When I'm looking at the underlying metrics for most of these people, he ranks usually within the top 5, correct me if I'm wrong, of like all golfers right now.
Oh no, he's always highly rated up there. And if you kind of start following him and get to know him down the road, he's got a great sense of humor too. I like him. He's a real cool guy. He just, like I said, he's just a hair off right now for winning to me.
Yeah, that's seems to be the case on kind of what I saw. All right. What about like some live looks? What should we be looking for in terms of maybe the weather or the course in terms of how it's playing? Is there anything that can give us an indication maybe in the first early rounds? Granted, it's going to be 2, 3 in the morning, so I don't know who's going to be live betting this, but let's say we were. What kind of factors can we be looking at?
Well, that's a great point about the time for one thing, but as of now, I was on a couple weather sites about a half hour ago before we came on, and as of now, it's showing not much wind all 4 days, which is unusual because they're pretty close to the sea, this course. So as of now, the weather does not look like it's going to factor in at all. Of course, it could change, but as of now, I wouldn't worry about like who's playing the early time, late times, stuff like that. So weather-wise, I think they're good to go as of now. One quick thing too, and then this won't quite tie into what you said, but they've changed the routing of the course this year. They kept the holes 1 and 2 and 17 and 18 the same order, but 3 through 9 they moved to the back 9 to become their first 7 holes, and then 10 through 16, excuse me, they moved to the front 9. And this might sound a little weird, but the last holes on this course were more by the sea, not near the clubhouse. So they couldn't get a lot of people. There was not a lot of fans out there. So what's going to happen this year with the whole rerouting is going to go crazy and loud on the back 9 towards the end. In fact, I think hole 14 or 15 is a drivable par 4, where in the past it was on the front 9. But going back to live looks, a lot of times what I look at is, like, did they have 2 or 3 good holes in a row? Did they have 2 or 3 bad holes in a row? And a lot of times I'll kind of go from that.
Phenomenal. It's so interesting to hear how the groundskeepers are really like the 5th player kind of on the course, because it really matters how they care for the course, how they set it up, what holes are in the front 9 versus back 9, and it really changes the strategy of the golfers on how they approach the golf course, right? And again, I guess I'm asking rather than stating, just because I guess you're our residential expert and you probably have a lot of knowledge on the grounds itself, as opposed to me who just looks at data and analytics. But it feels like that's a really important factor in kind of getting the feel of how these golfers are going to do.
Oh, you're spot on. You're absolutely right, Moshe. Just quickly let's go back to the US Open a few weeks ago, which was in New York or Long Island or whatever. The way they had where the flags were positioned on the greens was crazy. But the thing is, sure, the grounds crew are important, but the PGA or the DP World Tour, they're the ones that set up the course. They tell the greens crew and the green superintendent, this is how we want the grass cut. This is how much rough we want. This is how fast or slow we want the greens. And then the PGA Tour staff and the DP staff, they decide on where the flags are going to be positioned on the greens. So they have total control of that.
It really is fascinating. You know how in baseball they have the umpire scorecards, which I guess isn't as important as it was now that you have the ABS system, but is there a specific website maybe you can find? You don't have to answer right now, but I would love to have like, I don't really have a good resource for kind of determining how the course is going to be specifically based on the grounds crew compared to what the public is kind of expecting. I wonder if there's a resource that kind of points that out. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I do have.
I will say this,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
and I'll get you the exact information you want in the next couple of days. But I know on X it's either PGA Tour or PGA Tour something. And I'll find out for you where they have the day before where the flag positions are going to be on the greens. So you can look at the course the day before, and I'll find out the exact names for you.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. That would help me a lot. Just continuing to try to understand golf and how to bet it, really, which has been a long learning experience over the last 3-4 years. Now, okay, last question, because we do want to move on to baseball. There is a promo right now on DK, and it's called Take a Mulligan. Get a bonus bet back on your winner if they miss the cut. So I'm not going to put that on Rory, Matt Fitzpatrick, Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, because I fully expect them to make the cut, even if they don't win the tournament. Is there somebody who could spike, who maybe is a little bit less well known, that has a chance to win, but only if they like make the cut? You know what I mean? Is there like someone who's like a big boomer bust type of person, I guess is what I'm asking.
No, that's a great question. Just give me 1 second if that's all right here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was a loaded question, and I
I like it though, because I like it because I must have missed that Take a Mulligan on the site.
Yeah, take your time.
One guy he's been hurt all year, off and on, is Marco Penge, Penge. He just came on the PGA Tour this year. He was on the DP Tour for a while. He's had injuries, he had illnesses, but he hadn't played in 2 months, and he finished tied 9th in the DP tournament last week. The young man has game, and he would be a boomer bust.
Well, at plus 9,000 over on DK, I'm going to put the $5 minimum on him to win $455. I think that's a solid look. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any final thoughts in golf before we move on to baseball?
Not for me.
All right. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate your time. As always, I look forward to our Wednesday conversations. Prince, do you have any thoughts on golf before we move on? I might have to re-invite him. Prince, you back? I can see your hand raised, but I can't hear you. Doesn't look like you're in. So I apologize. I'm going to move on to Drew, and then we'll try to get you back in. He's going to rejoin in just a second. Brian, hold on, because he might have a question for you in just a second. Drew, how you doing, buddy? How was yesterday? Unfortunately, I don't think Columbia did it, correct? But how was your other play there? Andrew Abbott, under 16.5 outs, was it?
Yeah, he didn't hit, unfortunately. The Phillies didn't capitalize after that Schwarber 3-run homer. I think he went exactly 6 innings, so that didn't hit. But looking forward to today in baseball.
Yeah, but if you were following the premium articles, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, I did rank Phillies on the run line, and that cashed out. Prince, you're back with us. Did you have any last comments for Brian or anything that you wanted to say before we moved on? Sorry, I don't know what happens to the connection here.
No, my bad. Can you guys hear me now? Can anyone hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I had to step outside for a minute real quick. So I think I got disconnected when I did that. But no, first of all, Brian, as always, just want to thank you for jumping on with us. Always appreciate it. Always great information. One question I have for you. So looking at this tournament here, the Scottish Open, and looking ahead to next week, right, is the Open Championship, I believe. Are there any parallels that can be made to this course and next week's course? Like, if there's any golfers that are hot on this course this weekend, can that carry over to next week's course over on the Open Championship, or are they two completely different courses that there's really no parallels that can be drawn between the two? How do you look at that?
Great question, Prince. There are some parallels. I mean, they're both links style courses. Royal Birkdale next year is a true links course, where this one this week, like I said, it's kind of a modified links, but you have to learn how to run the ball up a lot, because when you play in Europe, more of the golf is played on the ground than it is in the air like we do in the US. So there's definitely a difference. You need to be able to flight the ball up and down on these two courses this next couple of weeks. Also, your short game, the way that the greens are set up and the pop bunkers around the green, those real small bunkers. Yeah, there's a big parallel in that regard. So yeah, if you get somebody that wins this week, well, in fact, I'll use this as an example. Last year, Chris Gotterup won the Scottish Open. Then he played in his first Open Championship. He finished third. So there definitely is a correlation.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, I had a feeling it might have been, but of course I wanted to hear it from you directly. So cool. Yeah, that's the only question I have, Moshe, if you want to move on to anything else, sir.
Yeah, let's get into Drew's baseball pick of the day. I'm interested to see where he's going. It is a very not as exciting because we don't have as many aces on the mound, but we do have a pretty solid schedule up ahead of us. Drew, where are you going first?
So this is a guy I haven't bet on, but I saw really good value after doing my research. I have Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals against the Brewers over 16.5 outs. He's not a well-known pitcher as people would see him as, but he does have a 3.14 ERA. The Cardinals are a team that I like to look to see managers that like to work their starting pitchers regardless of how they're progressing through the game. But McGreevy has done pretty well, especially at home. His last 6 starts, he's 5-1 with the 16.5. And yes, he's playing a hot Brewers offense. The last time he played the Brewers, I think it was back in like May or something. And he only pitched 4 innings at the Brewers. He got 5 runs. But this is a pitcher that consistently goes 6 innings. He's playing at home. It is going to be like 89-degree weather, but it will be at night too. And just looking at him in general, he usually will pitch in the strike zone. He's a workhorse, and I think it's his. And overall for the season, the 16.5 I checked is 12-5 on the year. And I think at home, he's only not done it twice. I think he's gone at least 5 innings or more at home this season. When he struggles is usually on the road. So give him Michael McGreevy over 16.5 outs.
Yeah, to your point, he is a pure pitch to contact hitter. The underlying metrics are pretty below average, but when you look at his walk rate, it is fantastic at 5.8%. So a team like the Brewers, who are out to get you early, it is a pretty good move to take someone like Michael McGreevy, who is pitch to contact and could possibly move through the order despite giving up a few runs. I don't mind that at all. I'm on board. I'm going to go with a yes run first inning. Now, I don't know if I've given one out yet on the show officially. I've been playing around with it on my premium stuff for a while. We're back. This is a fun matchup. Astros Nationals -118 for the yes run at first inning. Got this last night on FanDuel. Please let me know if the price has moved too significantly one way or the other. But I see negative regression from both of these pitchers. You have Foster Griffin facing. Oh, sorry, I just lost the page. You have Foster Griffin facing Spencer Arrighetti. And when you're looking at the Astros and Nationals, they both rank in the top 4 in runs scored in the first inning. A big part of that is due to who is in the first 3 batters in each of these lineups. For Houston, you have Yordan Alvarez, who is literally a one-man wrecking crew. He has an insane 19.1% barrel rate to a 53.8% hard hit rate. And then on the other side, you have James Wood, who's carried a 22.8% barrel rate and a 60.1% hard hit rate. Insane numbers. either one of them could go yard today, which I will get to in a minute. Foster Griffin is vulnerable the first time around the order. Opponents are hitting 228 with an OPS of 640, and he does pitch slightly worse at home with an ERA just under 3, which isn't terrible. And the underlying metrics are mostly good, but the one huge red flag that I want to jump on is his 10.5% barrel rate, which I think is extremely concerning, especially in a great hitting environment with 81-degree weather, wind blowing out left at 5 miles per hour. On the other side, you have Houston starter Spencer Arrighetti, who is coming off his best start in quite a while. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits and just 1 earned run. But before that, he had given up 25 runs in the previous 5 outings. 25 runs. He has an 11.5% walk rate, shows serious control issues, and they tend to show up earlier than later when he starts. He does significantly worse first, second time around the order than the third. I like him to give up a run early. This is really just a negative reaction to a negative regression based on when somebody does really, really well after doing really, really poorly. Even if he has a decent start today, I kind of like him to give up just 1 run. Previously, I would have attacked the first 3 under, but if 1 or 2 run scores in the first or second and no runs in the third, I'm not interested in that scenario. I just want one of these teams to score, and I think this is a really good opportunity for it. The last thing that I want to mention for this pick is both pitchers haven't actually pitched that bad in the first inning this year, but when you're looking at their underlying metrics, namely their FIP to XFIP, so how they're actually pitching versus how they should be pitching, I show massive negative regression for both of these pitchers. Give me a yes run first inning at -118. This is a fun one, Drew. Any thoughts? Prince, any thoughts on this play? And do you have any plays for us?
Sorry,
yourself?
my bad. I was on mute.
Oh, sorry.
I was saying I actually love this play a lot because the Nationals and Houston are 1 and 2 in runs per game in the first inning, so that's really good value there.
Yeah, they're smashing it quite literally. Prince, what do you got for the MLB today? Do you have anything for the MLB? No pressure.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, actually, I do. We're gonna go back to our team total parlay that we were hitting on earlier in the season. Looking at the same game here, Nationals Astros. I'm gonna take the Nationals team total over 3.5. For all the reasons you guys just said, I think I'm gonna fade the Astros bullpen. Nationals, one of the better hitting teams in the league in the major, so I'll give you the Nats over 3.5. We're gonna parlay that with the Dodgers over 3.5 runs. Again, taking on the Rockies, of course. Got to fade the Rockies bullpen. Dodgers at home should be in a good position to put up some runs. So both of those, Nationals over 3.5, Dodgers over 3.5. That probably comes in at -130.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give out a bonus play here. It's not official. I did put it on my premium channel. It is not a model play, but it is a play that I like. And I took the first 3 under in the Rockies-Dodgers game. You can get the first 3 under 3.5 at -140-ish. And I think a lot of people are expecting a lot of runs early. And I don't say that we're not going to see a lot of runs in this game. Both of these pitchers, though, pitch significantly better the first time around the order. Rory Sasaki pitches much better at home. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of fade the public where we're expecting a ton of runs early. I kind of say 3.5 runs is a lot to get in the first 3 innings. And the pitching environment is not, the hitting environment isn't as ideal as I think people think. So I am playing the first 3 under, but I don't mind the Dodgers full game team total. I am on their run line also. Just saying, putting it out there. Any thoughts on that, Prince?
No real thoughts for me. But I think we're probably in lockstep here. In terms of the Dodgers getting runs, whether it's early or late, I think they get them at some point.
I do have a thought on. So the Rockies are pitching a rookie. This is his first career start. His last time he played, he played against the Giants. I remember he did pretty decent, but it's his first career start against the Dodgers. So that's hard to do. Either Dodgers offensively have been off and on. They struggled against Michael Lorenzen, I think, yesterday. But I think this is a good time for the Dodgers offense to kind of wake up against a rookie pitcher. Sometimes you could say it could be a downside because they haven't seen him or his stuff. We kind of saw that in the World Baseball Classic when a lot of these hitters haven't faced these kind of pitchers. But we'll see how they do it. if they're able to get to this rookie and that's too much for the rookie in Dodger Stadium against these players, then I expect the Dodgers to score a decent amount of runs here.
Yeah, full disclosure, when I made my first 3 underplay, Gabriel Hughes was not the projected starter. So I rescind my first 3 underplay. I'm still playing it, mind you, but I'm not going to give that out anymore. I don't think it's not as nice and juicy of a number anymore as I would have liked. Yeah, listen, these starters sometimes change, and there's nothing you can do about it. You got to ride with the play, whether or not you agree with it. Hard to cash out with a minus on that money, but if no runs are scored early, then maybe I will just play a little bit on the overs just to hedge myself. All right, FIBA. Do we have FIBA today, Prince?
We do. We actually have. So we got FIBA, we have WNBA, and we have Wimbledon. All 3 I'm going to be covering here. So we'll start off with FIBA. We do have a rescheduled game. It's going to be Venezuela versus Colombia. It's rescheduled, of course, because of the earthquakes that were in Venezuela. Which thoughts and prayers to any of those who were affected by those earthquakes. But in any case, we have a rescheduled game tonight because of that. So there's actually a really big game tonight. The winner will qualify for the next round of qualification. Actually, I'm sorry. Colombia wins, they'll be in. Venezuela, they got to win by 11 or more to qualify. So anything less, if they win by anything less than 11, or if they lose, they're out. So for that reason, I think we're going to see an up-tempo game. Venezuela is going to know that they got to win by a considerable margin against Colombia, which they have done in the past. Looking at their head-to-head, this has hit before. Between these two sides, Venezuela has won by a considerable margin against Colombia, so it's not out of the question that they could do it again. But rather than take a spread here or take a side, I'm just going to take the total in what could be a fast-paced game, up-tempo game with Venezuela needing to win by margin. So give me Colombia, Venezuela over 153.5, and that comes in at minus 115.
I love it. I'm going to ask Drew for his expert opinion on FIBA. Any thoughts?
No thoughts at all on FIBA.
Sorry, I'm just messing with
Great
you.
expert opinion.
Sorry, I'm still feeling.
Way to put him on the spot.
I believe. Hey, you know what? My expert opinion is keep betting stuff on Italy because it's working for Prince.
There you go. Nice. I love it. And then we can go and move on to the W if you want, Moshe.
Yeah, thank you for not making me speak again. I am feeling still under the weather.
I got you. I'll pick you up. I got you, brother. All right. So looking at the W today, we've got 3 games in action. One of them I'm going to be fading altogether, the Tempo and the Valkyrie. Don't really know how to play that one, so I'll skip that one. But I am going to be attacking the other 2 games. We have the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Connecticut Sun. Of course, Connecticut, one of the worst teams in the league. I am 100% going to be back in the Lynx here. They're 7-point favorites, but I'm just going to take them on the money line in a 2-pick parlay. So give me the Lynx on the money line, and we're going to parlay that with the Fever, taking on the Sparks. I'm going to take the Fever on the money line here. So that parlay comes in at minus 114. Looking at the Sparks, they're just 3-7 at home, one of the worst home records in the league. They're without Kelsey Plum still. Without her, this team has just been free falling, really struggling to win games without her. So I think the Fever in a good position here to get a W on the road at LA against one of the more struggling teams at home. And then, like I mentioned before, Connecticut, a terrible team. Minnesota, first place in the W right now, sitting at 15-6, league best record. I think they should absolutely be able to get the W against the Connecticut Sun. So again, Minnesota Lynx, Indiana Fever, moneyline parlay, minus 114. I'll try to keep you from talking most. Any thoughts on that? If not, I'll move on to Wimbledon.
Let's keep it moving.
All right, cool. All right, so going on to Wimbledon then. We're looking at, I got a 2-pick parlay here. In this one, we're going to go 1 pick from the women's side and 1 pick from the men's side, as we're going to be entering the semifinal stages of the Wimbledon tennis tournament here. First up, I'm looking at the Coco Gauff taking on, let me get her name correct, Carolina Muchova. This is going to be a semifinal taking place tomorrow morning. Look, I like Coco Gauff here to not get swept, so we're going to take her on a set spread plus 1.5 sets. Looking at the head-to-head, she's won 6 out of the last 7 against Muchova. Muchova might be a little bit better on grass in terms of her techniques, but I like the way Coco Gauff is playing right now. She's on fire, and of course, head-to-head, she seems to dominate this player in Carolina Muchova. So we're just looking for her to not get swept. Anything other than a 2-0 sweep for Carolina Muchova, and we win this bet. So I like that a lot here, getting Coco Gauff plus 1.5 sets. We're going to parlay that with the men's side. We've got the Joker, Novak Djokovic, taking on Yannick Sinner. Heavyweight matchup here between these two. However, looking at the head-to-head, it's pretty close. Yannick has just a 1-win lead against Joker, 6-5 in their head-to-head. Joker has a 2-1 lead on grass courts. They're even 3-3 split in major tournaments. So not much between these two players. I think there's tremendous value on Djokovic here, despite his age. He's showing that he's still doing it. He's still performing at a high level. And one thing I worry about with Yannick Sinner is there seems to be he seems to retire a lot from matches unexpectedly. We've seen it in before where it'll be a muscle cramp, it'll be a respiratory issue. I think he has some underlying conditions. He has to because he's retired an awful lot for someone of his age from matches, and it usually happens unexpectedly. So I'm always hesitant to take Yannick Sinner in general for that reason, just for his health reasons. But in this one, I'm on Djokovic plus 2.5 sets. Again, we're just looking for if we can avoid a 3-0 sweep from Yannick, we'll catch this bet as well. So looking at Joker plus 2.5 sets, Coco Gauff plus 1.5 sets, and that probably comes in at plus 104 again. If we can avoid a 2-0 sweep from Muchova against Coco Gauff, and we can avoid a 3-0 sweep from Sinner against Djokovic, we hit this parlay. So Coco plus 1.5, Djokovic plus 2.5 at plus 104.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I have them fairly close. Enough to say where I think that each one of them will win at least one set.
Yeah, that's all we're looking for. Basically, yeah, we're just looking for a 1 set from Joker and 1 set from Coco Gauff. So,
I actually do.
Yeah, I don't mind. Coco Gauff has been playing out of her mind.
Yeah, she's on fire. She's absolutely on fire right now. Playing maybe some of the best tennis of her life. Drew, any thoughts for you on this one?
Yeah, I actually am a big fan of tennis. I know I never really talk about it much, but I love your Coco Gauff take in this. I think this is like a very suspicious line. The fact that she's minus 109 and Vichova is minus 111. I like Coco Gauff. Yannick Sinner, I have a deep heart in him because he's a fellow Italian here. But the problem with him, like you said, he does get tired. He kind of does get tired easier than he should. And I don't expect him to 3-0 sweep. I can't remember the last time I've seen Novak is 3-0 swept before. He usually at least was 1 set because Yannick Sinner's 3-0 is only plus 150, and in tennis plus 150 is not really great odds for a 3-0 sweep. So I expect Yannick to advance and win. I think it'll be like 3-1 because since Alcaraz is out because of his wrist injury, which sucks because I love seeing Alcaraz play. I think that I think that Novak will at least win 1 set here against Sinner because of their history they've had. And Novak doesn't like to go down without a fight regardless. He likes to make it a show, which I love.
Yeah, 100%. He's got the heart of a champion, and it's hard to sweep a champion like him. I'm with you on that. I find it really hard to believe that he's going to get swept 3-0 against Yannick. So cool. Glad we're in lockstep on that one.
Yep. Any fact of the day, Drew?
Before we get to the fact, did you want to get to the World Cup play for tomorrow?
Yep. Sorry.
It's okay. No worries, brother. I got you.
Prince, keeping me honest.
I got you. Yeah, so again, no matches today, unfortunately. It's the first day in the 27 days straight we've had a World Cup game. Unfortunately, nothing today. That just means we're getting towards the end of it here. But we do have a banger of a matchup tomorrow. We got France taking on Morocco, 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Look, everyone and their mother is on France in this one, right? Everyone thinks France is going to win it all. France has the best team. And look, I tend to agree with him. However, looking at the odds on this game, I find a lot of value to be on Morocco in this one. And I'm not so sure if France is a shoo-in to even advance from this fixture here. So what I landed on, I'm going to take Morocco +1. At minus 120. Basically, that's kind of a double chance with goal insurance, right? So if Morocco ends up losing by 1, we get our money back. The only way we lose this bet is if France win by 2 or more. I think Paraguay laid the blueprint on how to compete with France in the last matchup. And I think what Paraguay did, Morocco can do, but on a higher level, right? And so I think Morocco can absolutely frustrate this French team. Again, we're looking at the weather. I believe the game's in Boston. We're looking at the moderately warm temperature. So it's going to be similar to what we saw in Philly. Not quite as hot, but it's going to be warm. No climate control here. So the temperature is going to definitely have an effect on the pace of play. Morocco tends to slow the pace down. In general here, they don't really get up and down the field as much as other teams do. So I like a lower scoring game as well, under 2.5 at minus 120. We playing that as well. But officially here, I like Morocco +1, a -20. And then here's a long shot for you guys. I expect this game to go to extra time, maybe even penalty shootout. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it does go to penalty shootout. In fact, that's the bet I'm giving out. And if it gets a penalty shootout, all the pressure is going to be on France. Of course, they lost the penalty shootout in the World Cup finals last year to Argentina. That's going to be on their minds for sure. And Morocco, they've had recent success in penalty shootouts. So I'm going to take Morocco to win in a penalty shootout plus 1,200. Guys, this Morocco team is vastly undervalued. This is a solid Moroccan team. They know how to play France. They know how to compete against the higher teams, higher ranked national teams in the world. And I think France is in trouble here. Something tells me that an upset could be brewing in this one. I get it if you want to fade it, but I'm on Morocco here to win in the penalty shootout plus 1,200, and we'll take Morocco +1, -120.
Yeah, I like being able to cash while the rest of the world loses out. I think this is a really fun bet. I also showed this game a lot closer than people expect. I like both teams to score here. I don't know about if anyone's going to score two, it's probably France. But if Morocco can keep this low scoring, then they definitely have a shot. And then if it goes to the penalty shootout, it's going to be basically -110 probably on both sides. So you can easily hedge and profit if this goes into a shootout, if you're on your Morocco to win in a shootout play, which is at what, plus 1,200?
Yeah, plus what was it? Plus 1,200 right now. Morocco to win in a penalty shootout, and I think it's correlated. By the way, I think if it gets to a high scoring game, I think that favors France. Right? I think for Morocco to keep it close, they got to keep it low scoring. So I think the under 2.5 is correlated to the other bets, Morocco +1 and Morocco to advance here on a penalty shootout. But yeah, I think there's a ton of value on this Moroccan side. I just again we're looking at value plays. France -400 to advance. I mean that's just disrespectful to Morocco in my opinion. So I think Morocco is absolutely live here. It's good. They're going to be gaming this one, no doubt about it.
By the way, just a little bit of a wrinkle here. Politically, France didn't control, but they basically controlled Morocco for I think it was like 40 years or something like that.
Yes.
Somewhere between like the early 1900s until like I think it was as recently until like 1960 or something like that. And to be fair, the relations between these two countries are at an all-time high. France is working on that. There's a lot of good stuff going on between, but I did find it very interesting that there might be some bad blood from the fans themselves. I'm very interested to see how that kind of plays out. If it plays out, I don't know, but I thought it was an interesting little fact.
No, 100% Moshe. I was gonna bring that up because I did a little research before the show here, and you're right. They're trying to mend those relations, but there is some deeply rooted bad blood between these two. There's a lot of political tension in the previous years between these two countries, so there's going to be that aspect, which I think is going to add to the motivation for Morocco, right? As the underdogs, they're probably going to be more motivated than normal. I mean, it's already a quarterfinal, so right there you should be motivated. But if you need any extra motivation, I think the underlying political tensions from years past, there could be some deeply rooted bad blood there as well.
Yeah, 100%. Drew, any thoughts on this game or a world fact?
Yeah, I actually have a fact. It's the kind of what happened in Argentina. That's the first time ever in World Cup history that a team has scored 3 goals, recovering from a multi-goal deficit in the final. I think it was like 11 minutes. So that was very impressive. They broke a World Cup record right there.
Yeah, I really liked Tom Brady's tweet or post, and it was, "This might beat 21-3." Which is
That's funny.
I
didn't see that. That's pretty funny.
I thought it was brilliant. I don't know if it's real or not, but my God, that was impressive. That was okay. I don't really want to get into it, but should that third goal have been disallowed?
Nope. I'll leave it at that. Nope. Morocco, nope. Egypt should have had 3 goals. So FIFA saves the day. Once again, FIFA saves the day. Yep. Mm-hmm. Ratings are a little bit better with Argentina there than Egypt, but we'll leave that there.
All right, question of the day, unless anybody has anything in the world of sports. If you guys want to come up, please feel free to request and we'll bring you up. And Brian, feel free to answer or not answer. No pressure whatsoever. We just appreciate you being on the show. But Prince, Going to go to you first. What is one piece of advice that you have received throughout your lifetime that's really stuck with you?
Ooh, go to Drew first. Drew, what do you think about that?
I was saying that's tough. I hate to pass it, but I have I have multiple advice that I've got, so I'll think of one of them real quick. I'll have a Stern go.
All right,
So, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
All right, the answer that popped into my head, because I have a lot of ADHD, I have a lot of energy, I get hyper focused in things, and sometimes it's hard to complete projects. The best piece of advice that I ever received was make yourself a deadline and go step by step to complete the work within that deadline. So you plan it out and then you just trudge forward. You don't look too far ahead, you don't look too far behind, you just go step by step. And I think that was really drilled in, pun intended, in the military, where you can really accomplish anything if you make a plan and just go with it every single day, inching towards your goal. And honestly, like that's probably the best piece of advice that I ever heard, and personally try to use in all aspects of my life. Sorry, Prince, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I think mine kind of it tends to agree with like yours. With yours goes in line with yours. For me, time management has always been kind of a difficulty for myself. So I guess like the best piece of advice was like one of my bosses once. He kind of told me he's like, hey, just focus on finishing one job at a time. When you're finished with that job, then work on the next project, right? Instead of because what I would do like maybe 5 or 6 projects at once, and they'd all be like 20% done, and then they'd be like, "What did you get done?" I'd be like, "Well, I got a little bit of this, a little bit of this." Like, no, you need to finish one thing before you move on to the next. And that was something I used to struggle with a lot. Was just like managing my time and making sure like time on task, right? Things like that, like getting making sure something's 100% complete. So that way, if anyone comes in and says, "Hey, what did you get done?" I can be like, "Well, this is done 100%, and now I'm working on this." Right. So kind of a time management thing is something that I always a little bit used to struggle with, but I've gotten a lot better at it. And I'm really thankful that managers in the past, like some of my supervisors and stuff like that have really drilled that into me, and I've tried to make it a part of my routine now. When I delegate to other people, I try to relay that same message. So I'd say like on a work level, or just even maybe just a basic life level, just finish what you complete before you start something else.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable. I know that I try to get my family to do that when there's so many things up in the air. Just get one done and then move on to the next. And it's not as easy as said, but it definitely is a good strategy. Drew, what do you got?
Yeah, I would say something I've emotional intelligence thanks to my mom. I would say she used to give me all kinds of good advice. She gave me, and it carried on eventually to my work. When I was like in high school, she would always tell me that, hey, when you do get your job, eventually in the future, just remember, you always want to understand other coworkers and stuff are going through something, along the line with kind of something, and understand them. If they're upset, if anybody's upset with you one day, remember they may be going something. Don't be the bigger person, and make sure you're the one that doesn't snap, back in a way. And another took when I got at a job and I eventually became a trainer, helped me become a trainer, is, hey, remember where you started, and don't get frustrated with people when they're not getting it, because remember you started the same way. So whenever my current job and my past job, I work in logistics. So my current job, where it's like, oh, they're not, I think in my head, you know what, I was the same way, not understanding. So instead of snapping at them stuff, I want to help them understand. So I've always been someone who's understanding, because I've been there before, and understanding people because they may be going something personally that I do not know about. So that was the advice I've gotten for my whole life.
Yeah, that's a doozy. Brian, no pressure, but any answer to this question?
I got a couple quick ones, if that's all right. One is, you are what you eat. And I always thought that was funny as a kid, but I've learned as I've gotten older, when I eat healthy, man, do I feel so good now. I feel better than I ever have in my life. And the other one is, be a better listener than a good talker. Because I know it's easy for people to always kind of jump in on conversations and things, but it's like, if you sit back and listen, I think being a golf professional and teaching all the time, I have to listen to my students, what's going on and everything. And by listening, I become a better speaker also.
You know what my mom always told me when I was growing up? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Sit down and shut up. To be fair, I was a loud kid.
Yep, same here, brother.
I don't know if she actually said shut up, but it was probably similar in sentiment.
That's
just
what she
nicer.
meant. Yeah, that's what she meant. Whether she said it or not. that's probably what she meant.
Well, actually,
I think that's
one of my favorite quotes that my stepdad told me was in business. He was like, being a good talker doesn't make you a good listener, and being smart might make you a terrible listener. So I love that quote.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right. I think that's going to do it for our show today. Let's recap our best bets. Brian, why don't you lead us off?
Okay, for the Scottish Open, I'm looking at 2 winners. One is Rory McIlroy at plus 960, and the other is Matt Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Brian, I think we lost you. Drew, we're going to pivot to you real quick while Brian reconnects, hopefully, unless I'm the person who got kicked out of the conversation. Drew, what's your best bets?
Yeah, I just have one today. Michael McGreevy over 6.5 outs at minus 134.
Fantastic. I'm actually going to just quickly go over the rest of Brian's plays just in case he can't get on fast enough. Rory McIlroy plus 960 and Matt Fitzpatrick plus 2100 as winners. Top 20, including ties, Eugenio Shakara, sorry for butchering that name, plus 280. Top 30s in ties, Parlay, Wyndham Clark, Tyrell Hatton, plus 224. Then tomorrow, or I should say tonight, round 1 matchup over on DK, Chris Goddard up over Minwoo Lee minus 130. And then 2 round 1 scores under 69.5, Eugenio Shakara under 69.5 at minus 134, and then Corey Connors under 69.5 minus 128. I'm on Astros, Nationals. Yes, run first inning minus 118. All right, Prince, close this out.
Yeah, so for me, we're looking at the WNBA. We're going to take the Minnesota Lynx on the money line with the Indiana Fever on the money line that comes in at minus 114. In FIBA World Cup qualifiers, international basketball, we're looking at Colombia, Venezuela over 153.5 at minus 115. In Wimbledon, on the women's side, we're looking at Coco Gauff plus 1.5 sets. We're going to parlay that with, on the men's side, Novak Djokovic plus 2.5 sets. That comes in at plus 104. In the major leagues, I'll take the Dodgers team total over 3.5 with the Nationals team total over 3.5 at minus 135. And in the World Cup for Thursday, we're going to take Morocco plus 1 on the Asian spread at minus 120. And we're also going to take Morocco to win in a penalty shootout at plus 1,200. That's going to do it for us today, guys. This has been the Wednesday edition of the Only Bet Sports Podcast alongside Stern Bets, Drew Dugley, Brian Liberati. I'm the Prince of Picks. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Let's cash out these tickets. We'll be back again tomorrow live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern at OnlyBets Podcast. We appreciate you guys as always. And remember, you are what you eat. Thanks.